I'm Jake.
And I'm Alan.
And tonight we will be talking about Bitcoins on
Name in Progress.
As e-commerce grew from the humble beginnings of Amazon.com and eBay, it had become clear that the online transaction was to be the foundation of the 21st century market.
Now, the services between buyers and sellers has been more efficient and cheaper, of course, but the value of national money fluctuates due to market politics, what have you, and that value, unfortunately, is lost between currency exchanges.
Enter in Bitcoins! Was that good?
Yes, Jake, that was good.
The dominant cryptocurrency of today. Supporters believe that it will be the next step in online exchanges.
And detractors see it as a bubble that is found in an unregulated, sinister, and dangerous market. But before we get into our discussion, here's Jake with a brief explanation of Bitcoin in 3, 2, 1.
Bitcoins were developed in 2009 by the mysterious and elusive Satoshi Nakamoto, who may or may not have been the only person to create the currency. It was built on the premise of creating a medium exchange that did not need a bank. With national currencies, banks are seen as the only trusted institutions to handle money exchanges, which implies that it's a service to be paid for, which happens to be the case.
Grr, banks!
Nakamoto believed that an electronic currency where exchanges are recorded and validated by computers would prove to be a better alternative to the trusted third party. Bitcoins can be attained in 3 ways. The first being by building a high-powered computer to mine it for you.
Like mine.
2, by providing a service or product for Bitcoins.
Prostitution.
And 3, by buying Bitcoins off a trusted Bitcoin site.
Weird guy in a trench coat on your corner.
Once a Bitcoin account, aka a Bitcoin wallet, is created, the owner can buy and sell using Bitcoins. All technical computer jargon aside, Bitcoin supporters believe that this is a viable currency, citing that 1. Only a set amount of Bitcoins will be made into existence, meaning that you can't print money and bring down the value of the currency.
You hear that, Federal Reserve?
You can do transactions without the need of a bank.
F*** you, ATMs.
And 3, it's very portable because you don't have to exchange it into a paper money currency.
Fat wallets and pockets are not appealing.
You just have to buy from someone who accepts Bitcoins.
Alright, folks, that was your short introduction to Bitcoins. Again, do not take this as consumer advice. We're just 2 dudes in a basement that like talking about technology. That fact alone is depressing the hell out of me.
Yeah, pretty much. So Alan, what do you think about using Bitcoins in the near future?
Do I have to reference anything we just were talking about?
No.
Okay, good. Alright, I do see Bitcoin as a viable currency. I mean, it's a peer-to-peer payment system, but I do not believe it should supplement entirely our current monetary exchange network, basically.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I don't see Bitcoin taking over for the US dollar or the popularity of other currencies like the yen or the euro. But I do think that there is a place for a currency that's not taken down by the winds of governments and politics.
Yeah, like I mentioned before in the video, if you guys remember, the more money you print, the less it's worth. Nixon took us off the gold standard, and we're now, the money is empowered by the trust of the American taxpayer. Again, that's not saying much. So, with that being said, the more the Federal Reserve decides to print, the more shitty our money is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there are reasons to why that needs to happen, but there also needs to be an alternative to being part of that system that can outdo the problems that we see within the fiat system, and that's where Bitcoins can come in because they're not supposed to be governed by politics.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of naysayers against Bitcoin, Warren Buffett, for example, like to quote, unfortunately, illicit activities that have taken place because of Bitcoin. I mean, one of the more famous ones is called Silk Road, which is like a bad name for a homemade condom.
Yes, but Silk Road, I would say the reason why Bitcoins were used so much as Silk Road was not necessarily because of this idea of anonymity. Bitcoins are tracked down. It's coded into the program that they are validated, monitored, and recorded through the whole system of Bitcoins.
Yeah.
So just saying that a Bitcoin has no name attached to it is actually pretty false. What I believe makes it useful in nearly illegal exchanges is the fact that it's so easy to use. You don't have to go through a bank to validate the transaction that could be done in Europe to be carried out in the U.S.
We're taking away the middleman, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And it makes it speedy, and it doesn't have to go through all these transaction fees. And that, just coming from a very logical standpoint, is probably the reason why we use Bitcoins in the black market.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not only illicit activities that want to use Bitcoin. The one entity that has the most amount of Bitcoins in terms of dollars is the U.S. government.
Yeah.
But when they see Silk Road, they gained about $28.5 million worth of Bitcoins.
Yes, but I don't think they're actually going to use it. However, I do see small businesses starting to accept it. Actually, I saw one in a Renaissance fair, or better yet, a Renaissance fair. I have to be right on that one. Yeah, it was quite interesting. But it does show that there is a place in the economy for small businesses to enter into the Bitcoin market.
Yes.
And it makes for a very interesting phenomena in current monetary policy.
Yes. So, and if you want to talk about another case, it was of course Mt. Gox,
Yeah.
where, to quote exactly, the bankrupt Japanese Bitcoin exchange Mt. Gox has declared in its filing that it has found over 200,000 lost Bitcoins valued at over $116 million.
Yep.
Previously, Mt. Gox was the world's largest Bitcoin exchange, and to give you some context, they magically lost money and they magically found it again.
Yes, all that from Forbes.com. And it's just interesting too, because I don't think that this was necessarily a technology issue. Reading from a few articles from Business Week, I've noticed that there has been a damning conviction that it was more of management's fault for not updating and working on the software, as opposed to it being a flaw in technology.
Look, folks, we see it again and again in major corporations. There have been leaks, there have been faulty security. Microsoft, Apple, Target, Best Buy, the list goes on and on where security updates aren't followed, hackers get in, it happens. But you can't just blame the idea of the currency for those issues. No matter what, there will always be the one person that wants to get past the firewall. I mean, it just happens.
Going on just mainstream currencies, not too much hoopla is going over how much money is being laundered each day.
Hoopla.
Yes.
Sorry.
Hoopla. But any currency will be used for illegal purposes. So I think that needs to get out of the media's head. No matter what type of currency is out there, what other media exchanges are out there, it will be used for illegal purposes. It's like the Rule 34 of the world outside of the internet.
The World 34. Never mind, I'm not going to quote that. But anyway, if you guys want to get on the Bitcoin bandwagon, we will supply you with a link that will take you to a Forbes article that will give you interesting tips on how to protect your wallet and how to do everything we were just talking about.
Link in the doopy-doo.
Yeah, link in the doopy-doo, because Jake likes to provide content, and I want you guys to do your own damn. Anyway. With that, folks, we wish Bitcoin all the best. We'll be looking at it very closely, and if you guys like this video and provide us with enough comments and feedback, we might do a part 2 about Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, that's in the future. Let's see how this show progresses.
Yes. Very low
On that
budget
note,
right now.
folks, you have been watching a very winded episode of
Made
in Progress! Good night, everybody.
Money, money, money.